We defeated ISIS. We killed the world's top terrorists. We secured our borders. We achieved energy independence. We stood up to China. We protected Israel. We made peace in the Middle East with the Abraham Accords, and more. We did things like nobody ever heard of.
CBS 17 is your local election headquarters. Former President Donald Trump returns to North Carolina for a rally in Asheboro. Thanks for joining us. I'm Liz Ortiz.
I'm Rod Carter. Glad you could be here. National security, crime, and public safety took center stage at that rally today. CBS 17's Russ Bowen is live in Asheboro. And when we talked to you at 5 o'clock, law enforcement took at least one person into custody. Bring us up to speed on what you know.
Yeah, so, I told you earlier it took hours and hours for people to get in. Well, it took hours and hours, of course, for them to get out. So, there are a lot of cars trying to leave this space that we actually just moved to so you can get a better vantage point. It happened about 50 yards from where we were parked. We were working on our story for 5 o'clock. Noticed a lot of commotion. I want you to roll this video now if you can, because these top few frames that are the most important, because what you're going to see right there are some weapons on top of that car. We saw the weapons on top of the trunk. Then we saw the weapons on top of the car itself. Very large police presence. They moved incredibly swiftly. They interviewed two men. They ended up taking at least one of them into custody. Two were in handcuffs for a period of time, but at least one of them has been arrested from what we understand. As far as official confirmation, all that the police would tell us is that they saw something they deemed to be a threat. What that threat was, what that incident is that led up to this particular altercation with police, it's not clear yet, but Asheboro police are the ones in charge of this. So, hopefully by the next few hours or so, we'll have a clearer picture. But I can tell you what we saw with our eyes. I don't need the police to tell me that. I saw a large police presence. I saw the sheriff's department out there as well, and other supporting law enforcement that were here. And trust me, they were in force, because there are thousands and thousands of people, and they were on it like that. And it never felt like at one point at all that any of us were in any danger. They had it that much under control. All right, so there's part one of what's happened in the last hour and a half or so. Part two, I've been out here all day since this morning with a lot of these folks, talking to so many of the voters today. Most of them are decided. They're not undecided voters. But I did talk to one woman who explained to me what she's doing to try to persuade those people who are still on the fence and not quite sure how they're going to vote. Take a listen. So talk to me a little bit about, number one, your reaction when you pulled up and you saw this line.
I felt very hopeful, very joyful, hoping that people, can really see through to the real issues, what's really at stake this election year.
What do you think that when you see this many people out here, that does in terms of messaging for others who aren't decided yet?
That there are people, smart people, everyday people, all kinds of people. Look at this diversity that are supporting the Republican and conservative values.
Why is it important for you to be here?
It's important for me to be here, I feel like, just to show support. And I feel like I've been a role model, an example through the years, and maybe somebody will see me. And it's important, I think, for our children and grandchildren, for safety and security in this country.
I mean, you're a retired nurse, right? And one of the places, all up front that Donald Trump struggles with are highly educated and suburban women. What's your message to them? How do you convince them that the right path is your path?
Yeah, and I'm a college graduate and I have a master's degree. I would say for safety and security, human rights, look at our retirement issues, look at how your children and grandchildren are going to be taught in the future. I really do think that the Republican Conservative Party is about pro-choice and what we want to do and what we want to teach in our own homes and families.
And I can tell the seriousness of this is really true for you.
It is.
This is a serious moment.
It's a very serious moment, because I think a lot of the rhetoric and the flowery terms on the other side are trying to hide the true agenda.
And very, very clearly, the Trump campaign wants to win North Carolina for the third time in a row. Democrats, as you know, are going to do everything they can to stop it. Democrats are motivated by the polls getting closer and closer. Remember, a Democrat hasn't won this state since 2008, the first time Barack Obama won. The last time before that was Jimmy Carter in 1976. So the onus really is on Democrats if they want to try to win this election. And if the motivation to get out there and get other people to vote is any indication of what we saw here today, Republicans are prepared to work very hard, and so are the Democrats. Coming up at 6 o'clock, we're going to talk to some of the folks, as you can see right here. It's very empty now, was not before. So many people, lines and lines. It took us forever to get in here. We got some of those last people who barely got in to see Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, as more than 1,000 were cut off, not able to get in there in time to see who they came to see. We're live in Asheboro. Back to you guys.